Today we'll be looking at the Burt Street Railroad Crossing in Springfield, Ohio. This is a 3-track railroad crossing with 2 cantilevers. There's only a bell on the north side of the crossing. The south side has wayside horns. I decided to use ATLS for this crossing because one of the ATLS compatible cantilevers looks just like the ones at this crossing. Okay, for some reason, even though I did have the crossing set up, the game did not save it after I saved the route, and they're in their off state again. I sometimes get this issue when editing portals too. Okay, that time it saved it, but the crossing still didn't activate. So I'm using this message to see if the crossing will even turn on in the first place. So far, it's not turning on. Okay, for some reason the ATLS crossing is refusing to work on this route, so I'm going to have to use TRC after all, which means all of this ATLS stuff has got to go. That includes these triggers, which were supposed to turn the crossing on, but for some reason flat out refused to, as well as these triggers that were supposed to turn it off but didn't even respond in the first place. There was nothing to turn off because the crossing never even turned on in the first place. And now these triggers are also being deleted because they also refuse to activate the crossing. Now time for TRC, which at this point I'm considering to be the superior style of crossing device in this game, because at the very least it activates every time a train triggers it, and in situations where it doesn't activate, it's usually my fault because I forgot to program something. So these are a lot better in this situation. Now I gotta choose a name for this controller. Alright, that'll do. This will be the 10th crossing that I've made on this game, for this route at least. Set the trigger distance. Yada yada yada. Now for some TRC traffic stoppers to go in place of the ATLS traffic stoppers. So far, this is the only cantilever I could find that has a gate mechanism attached to it, so it's the closest thing I could get to the actual cantilever used in the real crossing that I'm modeling after. I don't really like this specific one that much because the lights are very difficult to see during the day. But then again, incandescent lights in general are difficult to see during the day, so I guess I shouldn't get too bothered about that. Real quick, I'm gonna check out this steam locomotive I just purchased on K&L Trainz. The cab is a bit generic. I really wish when people made steam locomotives they would make custom cabs, because obviously each steam locomotive has a different cab in real life. But I would imagine that making a cab for a steam locomotive would not be easy. Though if you go inside the tender, you can actually take a look inside the actual cab, and this is a little bit more prototypical. You can ride inside all the passenger cars, but you can only ride on the edge of the car. You can't like go inside it for some reason. You can go inside the last car though. You can also ride inside the dome car as well. And this is the inside of the observation car. You can turn the camera around to look inside, though most of the interiors from K&L Trainz are just like black textures. Anyway, that's what the observation car looks like on the inside.